Well, here we've got our ingredients to make some Singapore noodles. I've got my spice mix, which is cloves, cardamom, coriander seed powder, cumin, fish sauce, my homegrown dried turmeric, green capsicum, red onion, Russian garlic, chili, ginger, spring onion, of course the lobster, or it wouldn't be lobster, Singapore noodles, and the rice noodles, and some peanut oil to stir fry it in. And that's all we need to do it. So first off, we're just going to get our rice vermicelli noodles, put them in hot water, leave them until they're tender. It usually takes about 7 or 8 minutes, 10 minutes, and then we'll rinse them off in cold and drain them, and they'll be ready for cooking. The little rice vermicelli comes in little bundles like that. Each one of these bundles is basically a serving for one person. So I'm going to make 3 servings in total today. So we've got the kettles just boiled. Just pour that over the noodles. Put about 7 or 8 minutes and the noodles will absorb enough water to be tender for us to rinse them off in cold water, let them drain, and then they'll be ready for stir frying. Alright, we've cut all our other fresh ingredients. Now we're just going to prepare the lobster. If you pull your tail back like this, it'll help the meat come out intact. Just give it a twist over the bowl so don't put lobster juice everywhere through the kitchen. There. So there's our nice lobster meat. Give that a little rinse off. Now we're just going to take the shell off it. We'll see how this one's, again, it's not too hard to shell, so if you just push the spines like so and crack it. If it's a harder shelled lobster, you need to get the kitchen scissors out and run them just underneath the shell, like snip, 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 like so, snip, snip, snip. I don't like to cut straight through with the knife, as you'll see in a second. You've got the intestine that runs through the middle of the meat. We'll try to get that out whole so we don't put that through the lobster meat. So here we go, just about got it all out. Okay, so then you just pull back this section of meat, and this is where the intestine is. I've just pulled it out with the tail, but sometimes it'll just be there. So anyway, so that's all good. Make that aside. I'll take the meat out of the legs and the horns as well. We won't waste any of this beautiful lobster meat. We'll just chop that up, little bite-sized pieces. A couple of boxes very keen for a little bit of lobster, very spoilt dogs. I'm using a cooked lobster. You can also use a green lobster tail that's been frozen. It makes it easy to get the meat out of. But it's also a good way if you had your lobster already cooked. So there we are. Nice chopped up lobster ready to go in our Singapore noodles. Alright, our rice vermicelli noodles have now absorbed enough water. You can just check with the texture with your fingers. If it gives nice and easily, then it's thing. You don't want it sloppy. So I'll just put this down for a second. The water's still very hot, so I don't want to burn myself. Just start running some cold water through it. Putting the cold water in stops the noodles from cooking any further. You don't want to make them sloppy. I'll just keep rinsing them off until they're nice and cool. So here's our noodles. They're slightly on the underside, undercooked side, because they're going to go in the wok and get a little bit more cooking. Drained off, no water left in them. So now we're ready to start our stir fry. Well, I've got the wok up to smoking hot as it'll go. And now we're going to whack in a bit of peanut oil. About a good tablespoon and a half of peanut oil. And now we're going to start off with all our green ingredients. So we've got ginger, garlic, chili, spring onion, green capsicum and a red onion, and they all go in together. Give that a good old toss around. Oh, that chili is very hot. Affecting me. Alright. We're going to keep stirring off these vegetables until they're nice and tender without overcooking them. Fantastic smell. You really need to have your wok nice and hot to get the best result with this. Alright, so the veggies, you can see, they're softening. So now we can start to add our spices. Now this is my mix of ground cardamom, ground cloves, cumin, coriander seed powder and a bit of turmeric. So I'll put 2 teaspoons of that in. I'll put a teaspoon of turmeric, maybe 2 teaspoons of that. It'll have a nice yellow colour and flavour. And then about a tablespoon of cumin. That's our spices in. I'll give them a good hit around. Make sure that everything's coated. Fantastic smell now coming up from that. Now we'll whack in our lobster meat. Give that a kick. This is already cooked, the lobster meat, so I only need to just get it all nice and coated in the spices. Now we'll put our noodles in. We've just got to get this all evenly mixed through. A bit of colour on the noodles from the wok. Now we're going to whack in our fish sauce. This is what we use to put the salt into the dish and of course some extra flavour. I go quite generous with it, probably about a tablespoon. You can add more or less to taste. Fish sauce is a very good ingredient for all sorts of cooking, especially in stir fries. Alright, we're getting there. You don't want to overcook them so the noodles start breaking up, but you've got to have it all nicely mixed through as well. We're just about there. So just to show you what it looks like. Fantastic. Now we're going to put a little splash of sesame oil on to finish it off. There's a great flavour of sesame oil. You don't want to cook that off too much. Keep the flavour of it. There we are, I'm ready to serve it. I've got my special lobster bowl to plate up in. Here we are, ready to go. There we have it. I've just had some lime wedges, a couple of sawtooth coriander leaves from my garden. And there you have lobster Singapore noodles. Delicious. Very, very tasty.